Hello and welcome, Chances here. Thank you for coming back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I deeply welcome. There's a subscribe button and a bell below if you want to be notified as to when I upload more content, and also by subscribing you help support my channel. So we've got a full moon coming up. It's going to be in the astrological sign of Leo, and it's going to be full at 4:58 a.m. here in Adelaide on the 6th of February. Other places in Florida, it's going to happen on the 5th. So it's going to be 16 degrees, 40 minutes of Leo, so nearly 17 degrees. I'm not an astrologer. I say this every time, I know, and please look at the links that I will put below this video in relation to the astrologers that I do follow or have used to collate this little report. So when it's the full moon, that means that the sun and the moon are opposite each other. With the moon being in Leo, this means that the sun is actually going to be in Aquarius, also at 16 degrees, 40 minutes. And what it is doing, it's actually highlighting something in our chart. So if you've got your birth chart handy, your natal chart, and if you don't, there's plenty of places on the internet where they can actually do one for you free. Then look at where 17 degrees of Leo falls. So this will give you an indication of what's actually illuminating, bringing to your attention, and shining out in your chart. So bear in mind that Leo is the astrological sign of leadership. It's also a very sort of self-worth, self-esteem sort of sign as well. So it could also be highlighting areas where you need to sort of step up and work more in your own power. What is interesting, and Mother McCord pointed out, is that this full moon is going to be basically the midpoint between the last lunar eclipse that we had, which occurred on the 8th or 9th of November, which was 16 degrees of Taurus. It was a lunar eclipse. And the next eclipse, which will be taking place on either the 5th or the 6th of May, should also be a lunar eclipse, this time in Scorpio. And this full moon is the midpoint between those two eclipses, indicating that it could be see it as the midpoint activating the shifts and challenges or changes that these eclipses are bringing in. So again, look at these points in your chart if you're able to. 16 degrees of Taurus, which is where the lunar eclipse was last year, and 15 degrees of Scorpio, where this upcoming lunar eclipse in May will coincide. These eclipses were also relating to the full moons, so it's really highlighting emotional aspects as to the planetary events associated with this time. Eclipses also help trigger events, and one of the main sort of instigators of this triggering is Aquarius, which is at 15 degrees of Taurus. And it's already been in this position since, well, in May last year and also in December last year. So if you can think back as to what occurred in your life in May and then repeated again in December, these could also indicate other aspects where this full moon will be highlighting in your chart, especially when it's in relation to big life changes. These could be things that we're getting to now bring into manifestation. Maybe you'll be working towards something that's been on the back burner. Now is the time to sort of bring it forth into manifestation, which of course is all about Leo. Leo is astrological sign in relation to courage, self-expression, what you want, and who you are, the sort of tapping back into the authentic aspect of yourself, and also giving you the strength to shine that light through. There are other major astrological happenings that are taking place at this new moon. In particular, looking at my notes here, this is the last month that Saturn will be in Aquarius before it moves into Pisces in March. And it'll actually been in Aquarius for the last 3 years. Interesting kind of event. We think that what has happened over the last 3 years, Saturn, of course, relates to constriction, control, sort of like grounding things down so we get a foundational aspect to it, and preventing us from moving forward in too much of a hurry. So it's really made us to sort of slow down and think about things, and also taking responsibility for our own energies, where we're heading and where we are wanting to stay in focus. Another big mover and shaker at this time is that Uranus is now direct. Okay, Uranus going direct, especially when it's 15 degrees of Taurus, bringing things out onto the public stage. And so it's a very unsettling, it's a very transformative energy. It could be things like earthquakes, very unexpected events, awakening, or so I can't speak at the moment, revelations of things that we haven't planned about, because it's connected with the internet, the electricity. There could be power outages or even cyber attacks due to a lot of unstable geomagnetic energies that are happening at the moment. So if you've been a bit like me when you haven't been able to sleep well, it could be because there are a number of solar flares happening around us that we could be tapping into. Now, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus as well. So these are the planets and also the astrological signs that we need to sort of keep an eye out on currently at this present point in time. Saturn is moving into Pisces in March. So it's going to be giving us a bit of a reality check, as it does when it moves into different signs. And I have talked about this in previous videos. And it's interesting because Pisces is all about illusion or delusion. It's about media. And it's going to be here until roughly 2026 before moving into Aries. So just be mindful of what you read or see in the media, and check your resources and your facts as well, so you're not having this wall pulled over your eyes and delusion setting in. Another big move and shaker that's also affecting this full moon is that Pluto is in the last few degrees of Capricorn, and it will be moving into Aquarius around the 23rd of March. So it's really around about 29 degrees of Capricorn, right at the end point, and being an outer or slower moving planet, when it comes into these outer degrees, so it's the 29 degrees of Capricorn, it tends to bring up a lot of the shadowy issues of that particular planet. So there's shadowy issues of Capricorn control, in particular from organisations, institutions to government. And some sources are saying that this could actually indicate that there'll be a lot more demand made by government or institutions. However, these demands are feeling a little bit more hollow because the power dynamics are shifting away from corporations or institutions, so to speak, towards the people. Now, these things won't happen overnight, but we'll start to see this energy beginning to shift and move, especially over the next 20-odd years. So it'll be interesting to look back from this point over 20 years in the future, as to say back to this point, and see exactly what has actually shifted. So we're just getting back to the moon now. It is, as I said, in Leo, It's about the physical body, it's about comfort, it's about safety. It's a sign of identity. This is what Leo is in South, what who we really are. And it's actually opposing the sun, which also has Saturn in Aquarius. So and that's really interesting because Saturn is the planet discipline of foundations. It's also part related to grief and restriction. And again, if you think about where Saturn has been in Aquarius, this has been a bit of a long grinding journey since 2020. So we may be feeling, what is our identity now? Where is our identity, our sense of self and our own spirit, our soul, our place in the world? These are probably good things or themes to think about at this upcoming new full moon. And Leo is looking at our sense of self, how authentic, how does it resonate with us? And another aspect, as I've mentioned earlier in the previous video, Aquarius and Uranus also connect with the internet. And we've seen that over the last couple of years, we've come into a very digital age. And how are you coping? Have you lost your sense of self in this digital age? Have you embraced it? Have you even projected this self-image as social media platforms in particular, so Instagram, have offered us the tools where we could be less authentic than who we really are? So the full moon and Leo sort of highlights all the changes that have occurred over the last couple of years, and even if we've lost our sense of self. So if you're in Adelaide, you might want to come down to Grange Beach on Monday the 6th. They'll be holding a full moon gathering down at the beach, and we will be focusing on the sense of self. That's also a UDEMY of Blessing of the Waters. Something that I normally hold in January each year, but this year's been a little bit different. And I'll put the links to below if you're interested in coming, because there are some things that you will need to brace. So I think that's about it for this full moon and Leo. I'll link below all the astrologers that I have used. I hope you find this of interest. Blessings.